The clack of plastic dice against the marble coffee table was sharper than it needed to be. 6, Jamie said flatly. Callum groaned. Come on, that's like the third time you've landed on the generator card. This game's rigged. It's probability, not rigging, Mia said, leaning back into the couch and folding her arms. Also, you're losing, so of course it's rigged. I'm losing because this nerd keeps hoarding all the power cells, Callum said, pointing at Jamie, who was arranging a small stack of hexagonal tokens like they were fine china. Jamie smirked, but didn't defend himself. He liked this part, the steady rhythm of game night, the quiet hum of LED lighting overhead, the 27th floor view of the city stretching out like a frozen map. High glass walls reflected the three of them, Mia in her usual all-black outfit, Callum in a hoodie 2 sizes too big, and Jamie, still in his work clothes, sleeves rolled to the elbow. Behold, Jamie said, sliding his piece across the board with theatrical sluggishness. The final energy transfer to my glorious grid empire. Oh God, Callum muttered, collapsing sideways into the cushions. You're insufferable. Mia snorted. He invited us over just to humiliate us. You invited yourselves, Jamie said. I just unlocked the door. That was true. Callum and Mia didn't live in the building, just visiting for the night, as usual. Jamie had the job with the decent salary in the high-rise apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows. Mia had once joked it looked like a simulation of a place you'd never afford. Too clean, too quiet. The game fell into its final, inevitable moves. They talked over the end, sipping warm drinks and laughing at the dumbest things. Mia's failed bluff, Callum's rant about the elevator playlist being psychologically manipulative corporate jazz. Then, at exactly 10 p.m., all 3 phones buzzed at once. It wasn't the kind of buzz that came from a message thread or app notification. It had a different cadence, a singular, hollow vibration, like a throat clearing in a dead room. Jamie reached for his phone. One new message, just one word, leave. He looked up. Callum frowned and checked his screen. You guys get that just now? Yeah, Mia said, her voice level. Same exact word? Leave, Jamie said aloud. Saying it made the room feel smaller, like the walls were listening. They sat there, blinking at one another. Is this a test? Callum asked, glancing at Jamie. You download some dumb horror app to prank us? Jamie held up his phone. No app. Same, Mia said. Message has no sender. That's when the overhead light flickered, just once. A single dimming pulse, the ambient sound from the building, the usual low hum of vents and the occasional elevator whine cut off entirely. The apartment felt sealed, still. Jamie stood and walked to the window. Below, the street looked wrong, frozen, not empty, not quite, but still, like a paused frame. Do you hear that? Mia said quietly. Jamie tilted his head. That's the point. I mean the lack of everything. She stood. Where is everyone? Callum set his phone down carefully. Okay. So we've been targeted by a really elaborate performance art prank. There's probably a speaker in the vent or something. Should we check the hallway? Jamie asked. His voice sounded dull in his own ears. Not splitting up, Mia said instantly. No one said we were, Callum added, standing. We're not in a horror movie, yet. They moved to the door. Jamie opened it slowly. The hallway beyond was immaculate and motionless, lights still on, no movement, no sound. Mia stepped out first, peeking both ways. Where are your neighbors? They were around earlier, Jamie said. Unit next door was having a birthday party last night. They stepped into the hall together. Jamie locked the door behind him by habit. That's when he noticed it. His door still said 2706, but the one across from it, 2705, had no number, just a blank panel of composite metal. Callum stared. Wasn't that the guy with the loud dog? Jamie didn't answer. He wasn't sure anymore. Behind them, their phones buzzed again. Only this time, no message appeared. just the screen flashing blank white. The stairwell was quiet in the way a mausoleum might be. Thick, heavy quiet, like sound was being absorbed rather than silenced. Jamie let the door close behind him with a whisper of metal on metal. Callum's hoodie rustled in the dark. Mia was already 3 steps down, phone in hand like a flashlight. "No cameras," she murmured. Callum leaned over the railing and looked down the central shaft. "Usually you can see down like 10 floors. It's just black now. No way this is up to code." They moved slowly, at first joking between floors. Tenants must have left. Must be some weird drill. Must be a power cut. But every footstep was swallowed by the air. Jamie counted the floors. 26, 25, 24. When they reached the 20th floor, Callum stopped. "Wait, did anyone else notice we've been going down for like 10 minutes? Jamie blinked. "Number we started on 27. That's 7 floors. "I feel like I've counted more doors," Mia said, glancing back. "These floor landings, they're repeating." Callum leaned against the wall. "Okay, this building's officially trolling us." A faint sound buzzed through the walls, somewhere between static and whispering. Not loud enough to decipher, but enough to notice. "Keep going," Mia said, more firmly now. "Don't stop moving." They descended in silence. The numbers on the doors changed, then stopped changing. Jamie paused at 1. "This says 18 again." "Callum, that's the third 18 we've passed." "Maybe we're walking in a circle," Jamie offered, not believing it. Mia turned and banged on the emergency door marked 18. "This is a modern building. No way it loops floors. We should be able to cut across to the elevators." They went through. The hallway looked normal. Clean white paint, recessed lighting, gray carpeting, a framed photo of a skyline on one wall. It could have been any floor, except the lights buzzed with a soft, asynchronous flicker. Not all at once, just one at a time, like something crawling across the ceiling and brushing each bulb as it passed. Callum said nothing, but Jamie saw him shove his hands deep into his pockets. He always did that when he was nervous. At the far end of the hallway, a green exit sign glowed, bright, too bright. They moved toward it. As they pushed open the final set of doors, the floor dipped slightly, like stepping onto a surface that wasn't quite finished rendering. And then, the lobby. The space was there. Polished floor, minimalist seating, a concierge desk, potted plants. But behind the front glass wall, no doors. Just an unbroken pane of mirrored surface. Not locked, solid, seamless. Jamie approached the glass, pressing his palm to it. "No warmth," he said quietly. "No vibration. Where's the street?" Mia didn't answer. Callum looked behind them. "Okay, no stairs back. That hallway's gone." "What?" Jamie turned. The door they came through, gone. Just more wall. They were boxed in. Mia stepped toward the concierge desk. No computer, no chair. Just a single blank monitor, turned off. She tapped it. The screen flickered, just once. Then the room darkened, every light simultaneously dimming. The buzz returned, louder now, closer. A click, a pulse. Jamie's ears rang. He staggered, blinked, everything went white. He was back on the couch. Callum was mid-sentence. Mia laughed at something he hadn't heard. The game board was untouched, all pieces reset. Time, 9:59 p.m. Jamie stared at the phone on the table. It was already unlocked, no message yet, just the glow of the screen, waiting. And then, at exactly 10 p.m., it buzzed. Leave. The game pieces clicked across the board again. Jamie barely looked at them. Callum was talking, same joke, same timing, but the energy was off, like an actor repeating lines he didn't understand. Mia caught Jamie's glance across the table. He knew she felt it too. They didn't wait for the message this time. At 9:59, Jamie's phone was already unlocked, as if expecting it. A quiet second ticked by. 10 p.m. Leave. No vibration, just a flash, and the world stilled. "Let's not pretend we're surprised," Mia said, standing. "Sure," Callum muttered. "Let's go see what flavor of hell we get this round." They moved into the hallway, but it was different. Jamie's door still read 2706, but across from it, where 2705 had always been, there was now just a wall. Seamless. The apartment door, the number, the peephole, gone. "Wait," Jamie said. "That's gone," Mia finished. "Wasn't that the guy with the dog?" "You said that last time," Callum said, "and I still don't remember him." Jamie frowned. He couldn't picture the dog, just the bark. It had been loud, constant, hadn't it? Farther down the hallway, more doors were missing. Just blank wall segments, no frames, no seams. It looked like the building was quietly erasing itself. They passed a small recessed area where a trash chute had been. It was now just a window to nowhere, a black square that reflected no light. "I feel like we're inside a screensaver," Callum muttered. Mia paused near the stairwell door. "This is cleaning us," she said quietly. Jamie blinked. "What?" "It's pruning, like we're code or placeholders." "You think we're in a simulation?" Mia shrugged. "Tell me what makes more sense." Callum let out a short laugh, but it cracked at the end. "I mean, it would explain the rent." They reached the elevator this time, sleek metal, touch panel dark. Callum hit the call button and the doors opened immediately. Inside, the floor indicator wasn't showing numbers anymore, just a blinking underline, underscore. They stepped in. It didn't ask where they wanted to go. "Lobby," Jamie said quietly. Nothing. Then, movement. The floor count started going down, but slowly. 27, 26, 25. Mia didn't speak. She was staring at the corner camera. Jamie followed her gaze. The monitor that should show a security feed showed them. Kind of. A live image, yes. But Callum was smiling at the screen, not moving. His expression stuck like a mannequin in mid-laugh. Jamie looked to his left. The real Callum stood there, chewing his thumbnail, not smiling. "Guys?" Callum said. The elevator dinged. Lobby. The doors opened. Callum bolted. "Callum," Jamie shouted, stepping after him. Too late. He had already passed the threshold into the marble lobby and vanished. No sound, no blur, just gone. Like he'd crossed into a blank space and been erased mid-step. The elevator doors slammed shut. Jamie turned to Mia. Her face was pale, eyes wide. "Did you—" "I saw," she said. "I saw." Then the lights snapped off. Total darkness. The panel went blank. Jamie felt weightless for a second. He was back on the couch. The dice lay exactly where they always did. The game board hadn't moved. Mia sat across from him, silent. Her eyes were fixed on the table. Callum wasn't there. Jamie looked at the door. His apartment still said 2706. The unit next to it was now a fire escape door. He walked to the peephole and stared out. There was no hallway, just a long blank corridor with lights flickering slowly, like breathing. Part 3. End. Leave. Part 4. Breaking pattern. "No, I think we passed that same hallway twice," Mia said. Jamie blinked. She was already standing, holding her jacket. The board game lay mid-play. The dice were gone. He looked around. "Wait, did we start already?" Mia looked at him strangely. "What do you mean?" Jamie stood. His legs felt wrong, like he'd just stood up too fast, except the room wasn't spinning. It was flat. Too flat. As if perspective had been stripped out. The window still showed the city. Sort of. The lights were static, like someone had printed a photo and taped it outside. Mia crossed to the hallway. "We should move quickly this time." "Where's Callum?" Jamie asked. Mia stopped. "He ran, remember? The elevator, he disappeared." Jamie nodded, but it was mechanical. "Right, yeah." They exited the apartment. The hallway was longer than before. much longer. The walls were narrower, the ceiling lower. The carpet muffled everything. They passed where 2705 had once been. There was no number, just flat panel. "Jamie," Mia said, "do you feel it?" He paused. "Feel what?" "It's thinner. Here, the building, it's not holding up." She turned down a hallway that hadn't been there before. Jamie almost didn't follow. Something about that space. It resisted being looked at, but he moved anyway. The hallway was gray and pulsing with soft white light, like a hospital lighting through layers of gauze. No doors, just one long corridor that narrowed with every step. Mia walked ahead, not hurried, not nervous, certain. "I've seen this before," she said. "Not this loop, another one." Jamie's voice caught. "What do you mean?" "There was a version where the hallway ended in a door. I reached it once, but the loop pulled me back before I could open it." Jamie felt the floor vibrate faintly beneath his shoes, a hum deep and steady like a giant machine just under the concrete skin. Mia kept walking, Jamie followed. The hallway bent slightly left, then right. Then Mia paused. Ahead of her was a flat wall, seamless, like the building had refused to finish the corridor. But she smiled. "It was here," she said softly. She stepped forward, and as her foot crossed a certain point, her form flickered, not light, not shadow, like a digital frame glitching out of sequence. "Mia!" Jamie shouted. She turned back toward him. "I think this is it," she said, and then she was gone. Not pulled, not consumed. She simply wasn't. Jamie stood still for what felt like hours. The hum quieted. The hallway was just a hallway again, unfinished and sterile. Then the world blinked. He was seated at the coffee table. No game board this time, no friends, just silence. He stared at the empty couch across from him. The window was dark now, no skyline, just static, soft gray and white flicker like an old television on mute. He got up and walked to the door. 2706. Across from him, blank wall. Down the corridor, no sound, no light, no doors. He walked anyway. Part 4. End. Leave. Part 5. Try again. The apartment didn't feel like his anymore. The walls hummed quietly, but there was no source. The kitchen counter was longer than he remembered. The hallway curved slightly left, even though it had always been straight. There were no shadows. Jamie stood by the window. There was no city now, just a soft, flickering fog. Static gray and white, like the screen of an analog TV on mute. He pressed his fingers against the glass. Cold, but not real. There was no give, no depth. His phone sat on the table. No messages, no time display. He left the apartment without locking the door. The hallway outside was colorless, diamond noise. Every surface looked like it had been untextured, left in developer preview mode. Blank doors, blank walls, no numbering, no seams. He walked. No elevators, no stairwell. Just one corridor ahead, slightly warped, narrowing at the end. One light above, buzzing but never flickering. The corridor ended in a flat white panel. Jamie touched it. It slid open, soundless. Inside was a square white room, and at the far end, a wall of glass, not a window, a mirror at first glance. But no, not a reflection. Jamie stepped closer. Inside the glass, a living room, his living room, lit warm and clean. The window showed the skyline still and beautiful. Seated at the coffee table, Jamie, laughing. Callum was slouched on the couch. Mia leaned over the game board, smirking. Their faces were familiar and real, full of life. Jamie pressed both palms to the glass. They didn't see him. He knocked. No sound. His other self moved a piece on the board, grinning. Time on the wall clock behind them, 9:59 p.m. Jamie watched his reflection move in perfect sync, smiling, alive. A still frame about to loop. Then his phone, their phone, buzzed. He stepped back. It wasn't his phone buzzing, it was the one inside the glass. The Jamie in the room looked down at it. Outside the glass, everything dimmed. A soft whisper behind Jamie's left ear. "Try again." Jamie turned. There was nothing behind him. The light above buzzed louder. The glass flickered once, and then the world blinked. Part 5. End. Outro. And just like that, the loop begins again. Same room, same laughter, same silent warning ticking just beneath the surface. Was Jamie ever meant to escape? Or was he only ever there to observe? We may never know who built the loop, or why it's still running. But for those who listen closely, the message always comes. Leave. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. If this story left a question in your mind, you're not alone. Leave a comment below. What do you think the loop really is? Subscribe if you want to hear the next story before time resets again. Until then, try again.